Are immigration raids and detentions getting worse? And what does that mean for you and your family right now? In this video, I'm breaking down the latest immigration enforcement policy changes that affect undocumented immigrants. And I'm going to tell you simple steps you can take today to protect yourself and your family. Now, one thing I want to let you know is that being detained by ICE does not necessarily mean automatic deportation. Stay with me in this video. I'm going to show you real legal options and an emergency plan you can set up right now. I'm U.S. Immigration Attorney Sharifa Tharpe. I provide the latest immigration updates and information that empowers immigrants in their immigration journey. I'm going to explain the big shifts related to raids, detention rules, and ICE that will be descending on sanctuary cities like Boston and Chicago. And then I'm going to give you a checklist of legal pathways and proactive steps you can take right now. Now, my goal is to help you move from fear to an action plan. First, let's talk about raids. So, a recent Supreme Court decision on September 8th lifted limits on certain immigration raids in California. Now, this is temporarily lifted the raids while they process the lawsuits. But practically, what that means is you may see more enforcement at workplaces, neighborhoods, and public spaces. And most alarmingly, is by lifting the limits on certain raids, the courts have allowed ICE to target people based on their race, their language, or their nationality. Now, people are worried about profiling, and I totally get it. The takeaway for you here is you must expect more encounters and be ready. We can expect ICE to become more aggressive with raids, and we also are going to see a lot of targeting based on racial profiling in cities like California, Boston, Chicago, and other sanctuary cities. Now, second is that they're ramping up major raids in sanctuary cities. We're seeing these raids in Chicago and Boston. Now, these are going to be similar to the types of raids that took place in Los Angeles, and they're targeting certain industries like manufacturing, construction, farming, and neighborhoods that are heavily populated by immigrants. Now, third, there has been a major change in the way courts will decide bond while someone is in detention. A new BIA decision has now said that people who entered the country without inspection will not get bond. So they will have to stay detained while their case is pending. And that means that people will be in there detained, fighting their cases. That can be very, very challenging. It's important for you to know that there are still legal options, even if you're detained. And you have to focus on those options if you're detained. Now, these three changes that I just listed, who does it affect the hardest? So it's going to affect undocumented immigrants living or working in areas with higher enforcement activities, especially in California, Chicago, and Boston. Mixed status families, U.S. citizen and green card holders who live with undocumented relatives. It's going to even affect employers, like at their work sites, and it's going to result in a lot more raids. It's going to also affect the operations of businesses and the employers who run those businesses. Now, let's talk about this. If you're detained by ICE, that doesn't necessarily mean you're being deported tomorrow. There are still legal options. The key is speed in getting an immigration attorney, keeping copies of your receipts and approvals. Make sure your family knows your A number and your attorney's information. Make sure you have an emergency plan in place. If you're detained and the officer indicates they're putting you in expedited removal, an attorney is going to be urgently needed in this case because you must show that you have lived in the U.S. for more than 2 years to prevent that from happening. Having an attorney with a signed G-28 and a stay of removal in hand could be crucial. So make sure that you are looking at your options before any detentions happen and understanding that you should have a relationship with an attorney in case you're detained. So let's talk about solutions before a raid or a detention happens. Now, these are real options that I'm going to talk about, pathways to prevent or stop deportation. There is VAWA. The VAWA self-petition, the I-360, and adjustment of status is for certain spouses, children, or parents of U.S. citizens or green card holders. And this allows immigrants to apply on their own, regardless of how you entered or if you overstayed a visa. Applicants can get a work permit and protection and then apply for the green card as well. So it's very valuable. The U visa is another option, and this is for victims of certain types of crimes who reported the crime to the police in the past. You don't necessarily have to go to court to get this. You could get this protection from deportation and a work permit while you wait for the processing time for this specific U visa. There is the T visa. Now, this is for people who experience certain labor violations or abuses. Also, if an intimate partner forced their immigrant partner or spouse to do certain acts against their will or force them to stay with them, that can also result in qualifying for the T visa. This allows for protection from deportation, a work permit, and even a path to the green card. The next is asylum. If you fear persecution or torture because of threats you've received in your home country, then this may be the right option, and it's important to evaluate this before anything happens like detention or a raid. Now, family-based petitions are still on the table. If you're the immediate relative of a U.S. citizen or even a green card holder, it's time to look at options like the I-601A waiver or Section 245I that offers undocumented immigrants the ability to still adjust status in the United States even after an overstay or entering without inspection. Now, Section 245I applies if you have a parent or you yourself had a petition filed for you on or before April 30th, 2001. So if you had a petition filed for you on or before April 30th, 2001, this could be a solid option. There's also SIJS for certain unmarried children who are under 21 who don't have one or more parents in the United States. This could offer protection and a path to the green card. If they're under 18 without parents, it's time to evaluate that option. Now, these are current laws in place that protect people now, and we've helped clients to get it. Filing early, evaluating your options can help you to get protection from removal and help you to get protection from deportation. So make sure that you are putting yourself in the best position to succeed. Now, you must know your rights and build an emergency plan. The best thing you can do is seek legal guidance on your best options right now and also know your rights. So here are some of the rights that you need to know about. You do not have to open the door unless the agents show a judicial warrant signed by a judge and make them put it onto the door. You can stay silent and ask for a lawyer. That is your Fifth Amendment right. And yes, immigrants do have constitutional rights. Do not sign anything without consulting a lawyer first. If you have status or you have a pending case, keep that valid ID, receipt notices, approvals handy. Seek representation from an attorney. Assign G28 in the file of the attorney can help that attorney get to you faster if you're detained. Now, build an emergency plan. I know we don't want to think about it, but we have to. Choose an emergency contact and memorize their number. Set up childcare and guardianship instructions and back up school pickup plans in case you're detained. Give a trusted person a folder with your A number, copies of receipts, IDs, passport, medical needs, and your attorney's info. And if you move, make sure you update your attorney. Now, make sure you have this in writing. That's the best. And sit your family down to let them know the actions they need to take in case you get detained. Now, here's the bottom line. Enforcement is up. Detention rules are tighter, but options still exist. Don't wait for a crisis. Talk to an immigration attorney, figure out your best legal pathways before something like this happens, and set up your emergency plan now. We're here to help, and we have found these options for our clients who now have legal protection in the United States with work permits, visas, and green cards. If this video was helpful, hit the subscribe button, tap the notification bell, and share this with someone who needs to understand what's going on. We help clients find the options that work for them. Take action now to protect yourself and your family. Until next time, take care.